Friday evening to you, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on Unscripted. Well, hopefully, if you're heading outside tonight, you packed your umbrella, because it certainly is raining across much of northern Michigan tonight. The good news is this weekend looks pretty dry. Let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, for more details. Hi, Joe.
Yeah, dry weekend coming up, so that's the nice thing. We'll get a little rain tonight and then get it out of here by tomorrow. The other thing, too, and I've noticed it, it's starting to green up in some spots. So a little rain tonight, I think, will help. We'll get the rain tonight and then a little sun over the weekend, so we'll get a little bit of a green up. A little cool tomorrow, even though we expect some dry weather to return, Maya, not quite all that warm. But by Monday, many areas back into the 70s. So got that to talk about and a lot more coming up in weather.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe. Our top story tonight, the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, was back in northern Michigan today. She was a keynote speaker at the 47th annual Governor's Breakfast in Cadillac. Now, the breakfast was held at the Wexford County Civic Center, is sponsored by the Cadillac Area Chamber of Commerce. The governor focused on the state budget and also highlighted the free tuition for community college and trade schools. It's an effort to help keep more young talent in our state. Now, the governor also talked about her past use of bonds to fix Michigan state roads and the need for a new plan now.
We made a lot of headway, but it's coming to a close. So we're coming to a funding cliff right now. And that's why there's so much renewed urgency about getting real roads pushed over the finish line. We've been able to do a lot with trunk lines. When you do a bonding plan, you can only use those dollars for state roads, and that's why local roads still have so many challenges.
And the governor says both she and the House have been working on that new plan. Well, one of the business leaders at today's breakfast was the president of Highfield Boats. It is a boat manufacturer in Cadillac. And he talked with the governor and other lawmakers about the impact of tariffs on his company. And our very own Audrey Boucher spoke with Christophe Levine and takes us inside his business.
Today, with what's happening, we are really struggling. We are still dependent of product made overseas, made in Canada, made in Europe, made in South America or Central America. And all the components that we need to bring in the US to complete our product, we basically can't get them right now.
Christophe Levine's Cadillac company specializes in mostly American-made aluminum rigid inflatable boats. Last year, the company announced an expansion, aiming to boost its operations and create over 100 new jobs. But those plans are now on hold.
We pay 197.5% tariff. So if you bring $1 million of goods, I have to pay $2 million in tariff, which is an equivalent of $3 million. Which essentially make the business impossible. It stopped everything we are doing.
Despite its commitment to American-made manufacturing, Highfield Boats relies on tubes made in France and Belgium. The tube isn't produced in the U.S., and without that component,
I have no boat. I cannot complete my product. And it's the same with electronics, the same with different components. We have to find a way to work with our suppliers overseas, and gradually, yes, improve or made in America, which we have done. 2 years ago, we started that with great success. We just need now to come back to a normal, reasonable approach.
Levine says tariffs have forced him to raise prices.
In the last round of tariffs, we raised the price by 12%. And I should do more, which is, I don't want to, because at a certain point, you won't find customers.
Levine says there's a simpler way to solve this.
It's pretty easy. Go back to a reasonable approach, being systemic in the way we address the tariff situation, and give times to American companies to adapt and to invest in the US correctly, with a structure, with a plan. We can do that.
At today's governor's breakfast, Whitmer, who was recently in Washington to talk about economic policy, touched on tariffs.
The White House has not articulated what the goal is, and they've changed the policy over and over again. And I think it's that uncertainty that breeds paralysis, or worse yet, protectionism or loss. And there are businesses that may not make it with all the changes in policy. Some might be able to make it if there was just a consistent policy, but it is the up and down and the changes every single day.
In Cadillac, Audrey Boucher, Up North Live News.
And in his meeting today with lawmakers, Levine said that he is hoping that they can work towards a reasonable solution, one that supports more American-made products without putting U.S. businesses in jeopardy. We are continuing to follow the devastating impacts of the historic ice storm a few weeks ago now. We know that one industry hit pretty hard by those storms was the maple syrup industry. And today, maple syrup producers met with state officials to just discuss what they've been dealing with. And especially, it comes at a time where they're right in the middle of maple season. Daniel Zivian was a part of the roundtable and shares some of their concerns with us.
A lot of the producers in this area did get up and running, but it's more like a Band-Aid because it's a lot of work to be done.
Syrup producers came from several counties to meet state officials, including MDAR Director Tim Boring and State Senator John Cherry, who chairs the Agriculture Committee. Jennifer Richard says 30% of her trees near Gaylord are a total loss. She was guided to the Emergency Forest Restoration Program under the USDA, but there was a catch.
You cannot touch anything. It has to stay as it is until you're evaluated. So that means we can't go into our woods. Well, as maple syrup producers, being in the prime of our season in March and April, we need to be in our woods. It can harm the tree. It can cause bacteria buildup in our maple lines if we don't get them emptied and cleaned out before the sap sits and goes bad.
Richard says she had already gone into the woods and salvaged a third of her crop. State Senator John DeMoose says bipartisan help is on the way, but some of the state's long-term plan depends on federal decisions.
If we race ahead too quickly at the state level, that could theoretically put our federal help in peril, because the federal government will not come in until we've exhausted state resources for any specific disaster.
Nobody knows what the trees are going to be like in 2 years, and everybody knows there's a lot of infrastructure that's going to have to be replaced. And so there's a lot of time, a lot of money involved.
In Grayling, Daniel Zivian, Up North Live News.
Well, Shady Lane Cellars in Leelanau County is testing a soft pesticide program. It's to see how it affects grape growing here in northern Michigan, and it's being done, this research, thanks to an $11,000 grant. Meteorologist Trevor Robideau visited the vineyard to see what growers are learning about this.
The Farmer Rancher Grant Program is a program through North Central SARE, or Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education.
So it's a federally mandated program through the USDA, funding projects that investigate increased sustainability.
Shady Lane Cellars in Leelanau County received the grant money to test these new products and see how they can help meet grower needs in a Michigan climate.
The goal really was to compare some of these newer fungicides and insecticides that have been out, some for a few years now and some very recently. But a lot of them haven't been trialed here in the Great Lakes region. They're typically trialed out west first, and it's very low disease pressure there. It's very dry, not very humid.
These pesticides were tested in 2 to 3 anchor chunks during the growing season.
So a lot of these products, as I mentioned, we've dabbled with a little bit before, but this 2024, in the soft treatment, right, the organic-esque treatment block, they provided the backbone, if not the entirety of the spray program. And they performed really well.
Flass believes this program will be beneficial not to just his vineyard, but to all farmers struggling with pests and diseases.
I think the benefit to programs like these are that they're very accessible information-wise to other growers. They're not, the results are pretty simple to see. You don't need to have a degree in a science-related field to understand what we're doing and the results and how to interpret them. So the information is really accessible.
In Leelanau County, Trevor Robideau, Up North Live News.
And we have one more story to share with you before we take our first commercial break. There is an effort underway right now to create an edible forest in Grand Traverse County. Sounds pretty interesting, right? Well, today is, of course, Arbor Day, and to celebrate that, community members planted a tree in a series of different edible and native plants in Traverse City. So what you're seeing right now is a video of students at Greenspire High School planting a smooth service berry tree at the Grand Traverse Area Children's Garden. The tree was donated by the Friendly Garden Club, and it is a keystone plant. So that means it'll provide food and shelter to help reestablish healthy ecosystems. Now, the service berry tree will produce, of course, berries to feed birds and other wildlife.
One of the most interesting things is that this smooth service berry tree that gives service to 100 different species and has edible berries is also going to allow us to provide a service to it, right? So if we teach kids, like at Greenspire, to take good care of the earth, it will also take care of us.
And the service berry tree, it may be pretty small now, but it can actually grow up to be 25 feet tall. And again, this is just the first planting in what will soon be an edible landscape at the Grand Traverse Area Children's Garden. Well, this is just one way that some people around Grand Traverse County are celebrating Arbor Day today. And hopefully if you are a fan of maybe planting some trees in your community, you did that a little earlier before the rain hit your area. But even if you didn't get outside and plant a tree today, you can still appreciate trees and all they do for us. And you can also maybe pick your favorite tree, because that is our question of the day today in honor of Arbor Day. We want to know what your favorite type of tree is. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. That will take you to our website where we put a whole list of a bunch of different trees. But of course, we always have an option for other, because you never know. There's some very cool trees here in northern Michigan, and we just listed a few of the basic ones. So be sure to scan the QR code, or you can head to our website, UpNorthLive.com, to vote. And if you do vote other, I think it should be a requirement that if you're watching right now, you have to leave a comment and let us know what other means to you. What is your favorite type of tree that is not on our list? So we do have quite a few votes and a few comments on our Facebook post as well. So as always, I will be sure to keep an eye on the results in the comments. And then towards the end of the show, we will take a look at that. But right now, we are going to take a quick commercial break. We're talking about the rain here to end our work week. But the good news is, shouldn't be much rainier this weekend. It should be pretty dry, actually. So Joe will have much more on your forecast for the weekend and when our next chance for rain is. Coming up next.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, a very happy Friday. I'm sure most of you are very relieved to be done with the work week and getting started with the weekend. And if you have any outdoor plans this weekend, it seems like it's going to be a really nice one, right, Joe?
Yeah, we only get a few of these weekends in the spring, yard cleanup and things like that. And this will be a good one.
Yeah.
Coming up. The nice thing, too, we're getting a little bit of rain tonight, so that'll be gone by tomorrow, and then maybe that'll help green things up a little bit out there, too. There's the Mackinac Bridge. It's actually pretty busy. You can tell it's Friday. A lot of traffic on the Mighty Mac tonight, with a little bit of rain. You can see some of that there this evening. Another day where we had a wide range in temperatures. That's right now. Let's go back to the high temperatures today, and they'll pencil in here. I promise. The computer is a little, so there they are. Take a look, though. Houghton Lake got to 71, 74 at Big Rapids today, and then Newberry, you only reached 45. So it was one of those days where, again, much cooler to the north. Here's radar. You can see some of the rain sweeping through northern Michigan tonight. It's been raining much of the day across the eastern UP. Here's the kind of edge of this, just getting into around Ludington. I'll take the cloud cover off here so it's a little easier to see the rain. There's Frankfort, Traverse City, Grayling, Atlanta, north of Alpena seeing rain, and then through the Straits area, Beaver Island, Mackinac Island, and then St. Agnes all the way up to Sault Ste. Marie. The back edge of the rain now getting in to Newberry. But look off to the west. It is dry up here. There's not much happening, and that'll lead to at least some quieter weather as we get into the weekend as that drier air starts to work in. Here's a look at our forecast. Rain starts to depart the area. And then notice tomorrow morning, this is around 7, 8 o'clock, still a little rain there in northeast lower Michigan and areas around Drummond Island, for instance. You could have a few showers early. Those end, and then it may take a while. It's going to be a gradual process. But the clouds break up, and then Sunday, we're looking at some nice sunshine, a few clouds in the afternoon. And then later Monday, we're talking late Monday, like Monday night, we do have the chance for a few showers and storms. Additional rain, here's a look at it. Not much, maybe 1 to 2/10 of an inch total. Outdoor outlook shapes up like this. Doesn't look too bad with quiet weather Saturday, Sunday, and also on Monday. All right, here's the weekend forecast. Tomorrow, 47 to 55, morning showers ending, a slow but gradual clearing, a north wind. And then Sunday, a nice day, lots of morning sunshine, a slow increase in afternoon clouds with an onshore breeze. Temperatures in the low 60s expected. And you know what? Take a look at the masterpiece. Here is the extended forecast. We're looking at some sunshine Saturday and Sunday. Nice weather. A few late day showers Monday. We are going to warm up mid 60s to mid 70s on Monday. And then a few rain showers on Tuesday. The best chance for rain actually will be Monday night, overnight, some storms, and then Tuesday. And then Wednesday, cooler again, upper 40s and low 50s. A week from now, looks like a little rain there on Friday.
And Joe, I know one of the tough parts about forecasting in our area is we cover so many different counties. So I know a lot of people out there want more specific details. If they are available maybe around, 8 o'clock tonight, is there a place where they can go to get some?
Yes. Yeah, our UpNorthLive Facebook page, we do a Facebook Live there. So you can ask questions and talk about the weather. We'll be there tonight in about an hour, a little over an hour.
Yep. Again, that's 8 o'clock. And so if you do have any specific questions about where you are or if you're traveling anywhere this weekend, Joe can answer those for you then. So be sure to join us on Facebook at 8 o'clock. All right, let's take a quick commercial break, but we will recap night 1 of the NFL draft with sports director Harrison Beebe coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around. Round 2 of the NFL draft is about to get underway in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But to take a look at round 1 last night and kind of recap everything that happened, let's bring in sports director Harrison Beebe live from the Content Center. Hi, Harrison. Happy Friday.
Hey, Maya. Yeah, we've got a little extra time today, so let's spend 15 seconds breaking down every pick. What do you say?
Why not?
Well, we won't go to that detail because even I'm not that insane when it comes to recapping the NFL draft. But yeah, noteworthy night 1. What do you think was the biggest story to come out of night 1?
Gosh, maybe the fact that Sanders didn't get drafted.
You might be right. We'll talk about him in a graphic in the second here. But Cam Ward going number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans. My favorite story of night 1 was Travis Hunter doing his little dance after he got drafted by the Jaguar. Oh, you didn't see that? No. Yeah, that was a pretty adorable little dance.
Can you do the dance again?
I just kind of did.
One more time?
No. One and done, just like a lot of these college athletes. No thanks. Yeah, Travis Hunter traded. That was the Browns pick at number 2, but they traded with Jacksonville, so now he will be playing for the Jaguars. And the Browns then went maize and blue with their pick, Mason Graham on the defensive line at number 5. And that wasn't the only Michigan player taken in the first round. We saw 3 of them go in the top 13. Colson Loveland, the tight end of the Bears, and Kenneth Grant, the D lineman, taken 13th to the Dolphins. So a lot of maize and blue the year after their national championship, which is interesting. And as we know, the Lions picked their guy that was on the national championship team from this past January, Tyleik Williams, the defensive line from the Ohio State Buckeyes. So a lot of noteworthy movement on day 1, but let's go ahead and look at day 2, shall we? I think we have an eye on some of the key names, and you brought up Mr. Sanders there, Deion Sanders' son, Shador. Now, a lot of people remember Deion from his playing days in both Major League Baseball and the NFL. And a lot of people have seen what he's done at Colorado, but who do you think is your most interesting player on the big board here besides Shador?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm going to go with the Michigan guys, but I really don't know too much about college football. This is kind of more your area of expertise, Harrison. So what do you think?
Well, Will Johnson right now in a lot of people's boards is the best player available entering round 2. So It could be that soon that we see a 4th Michigan player selected. I threw TreVeyon Henderson in there because he kind of made some waves in the college football playoff for the Buckeyes and winning that national championship. Obviously, Shador speaks for himself. Jalen Milroe, we saw Alabama play Michigan, and Milroe had a pretty good showing in that bowl game on New Year's Day against the Wolverines. But, of course, Michigan came out on the winning end of that one. But rounds 2 and 3 are pretty exciting. We've gotten rid of the top names, but these are the ones where you really, the work and the research really pays off in these middle and later rounds where teams, it may not be as many people watching tonight, but really this is key. And we know the Lions are going to pick late in rounds 2 and 3. So a lot still on the plate as far as potential for these teams to build going forward. There's a big reason they put it on national TV on a Friday night as well. They know people will be watching, and we know the Tigers won't be playing tonight. So no Pistons as well. Plenty of focus in the state of Michigan will be on what happens in the draft tonight compared to last night where we had the Pistons and Knicks game 3.
And so what pick do the Lions have this round?
Offhand, I can't remember the exact number. You get so high up there, but they're near the ends of rounds 2 and 3 again right now.
Okay, we'll have to do a complete draft recap again on Monday once it is all wrapped up. But thanks so much for what were you going to say, Harrison?
It's just so long from now. It's 6 rounds of football draft.
I know, it's going to be a lot to talk about. We'll have to give you more time on Monday for that. Thanks so much for joining us. And let's take a break. We will check with our question of the day, live results, and some of your comments next.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Well, today is Arbor Day, so we wanted to know what your favorite tree is. And I know it's really hard to pick just one tree. There's so many good ones out there. We listed a bunch on our website, which if you haven't voted yet, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now and you can still vote. It does look like maple is winning with 22% of the votes. You can see all the other results on your screen right now. Over on Facebook, Andy says sycamore, fast growing, great shade, and beautiful bark. And Mary Ann says blue spruce. I think I'm going to have to go with a weeping willow. They're just so incredibly beautiful, but aren't all trees? Well, I hope you're enjoying your Arbor Day, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. We will see you back here on Monday.